All right, so we just covered continuity bonuses and continuity discounts. Now we go to a special continuity offer that I really like a lot. And it's the other two are kind of like big amorphous versions. This is a very specific play. It'll be the shortest of the three. But for many of you people who have services or anything that's on continuity, especially if you have onboarding or some sort of getting clients results quickly, this thing is a beast. All right, so here's how I learned it. So after a long career in business, a friend of mine entered the consulting space with the intention of creating a lifestyle business. So he said, "Hey, I'd just rather make $5 million a year with no employees and then have some big company." And he said, I don't really lose anyone, so I don't really need to market. And I was like, that's really interesting. A weird thing to say. I was like, so I assume like, all right, so you just collect payments up front. Whenever somebody says, oh, I don't have any churn, I usually just assume, well, you have no churn if you only have prepayments. He said, no, I've got mostly payment plans. I was like, huh, how do you do that? He said, well, once you hear it, you're going to kick yourself for not doing this all along. I was like, all right, so what do? He said, I just say that you can pay $25,000 to start and then go month to month after that for $4,000 a month. Or you can go to $4,000 a month if you commit to the year. So just about everyone takes the year. Then I just have them initial on their contract that they understand that if they exit early, they have to cover a $25,000 onboarding fee. So if someone calls to quit, I just say, oh yeah, no worries, just wire over the onboarding fee and I'll get you canceled right away. And that usually keeps people in it. It also gets people through the emotional ups and downs of business. And I was like, that's pretty sweet. So if you look at this visual here, if you had a $1,000 a month continuity plan, right? You could say, cool, this is 5,000 down, then $1,000 month to month, or I will waive the $5,000 fee and it will be free with a 12-month commitment at $1,000 a month. And you pay that if you want to cancel early. So this is fundamentally a neat cancellation term. Fundamentally, it's what it is. But because we pair it as a price on the front end, it becomes a very strong sales thing too. So with the other version, we use the 3 months free or whatever to get someone in. And then we say, cool, you have to pay the difference if you cancel early. Here, we sell them on the vacation and we say, we have this massive onboarding fee, but I'll waive it if you sign up for a commitment. Then that also hangs as a knife. If they don't want to pay it today, they're not going to pay it in 6 months either. And so the same reason they signed up is the same reason they'll keep paying. Here's our description. So the waive fee offers work like this. First, you ask customers to pay a startup fee as a part of joining a month-to-month program. Typically, you want to do that to 3 to 5 times the monthly rate. All right. So if it was a $1,000 thing, you'd want it to be a $5,000 front fee. For the example, it was $4,000 a month and $25,000 sign-up fee. That's the idea. All right. Then you offer discount the entire fee if they commit to the longer term. And the commitment period should be minimum of 6 months, ideally 12 plus. If it's less than that, it doesn't really make any sense. So if they cancel inside the term, they pay the fee. Customers can choose to pay the big fee and keep the option to quit at any time, or they can commit to 12 months and get the fee waived. And many will commit to avoid the big fee. There's also a clear point after 4, 5, 6 months where if they paid the fee, it's the same as staying, in which case it basically gets them through that initial churn point. And then after that, there's no financial reason to leave the back half of the contract. So we take the greater risk if they pay month to month, but they take a greater risk if they commit. And so if a customer chooses month to month, we lower our risk with the startup fee, but we lower their risk year to year by waiving those fees. And if they commit and they want to quit early, then okay, they pay the fee as though they had paid month to month from the beginning. Very simple. Bottom line is that customers will stay longer if leaving costs more than staying. And to make this equitable, if they stay the full term, they can cancel if they choose with no fee. That's what makes it fair to both parties. So if you need to feel better about yourself for charging these things, whether real or made up, you should get that looked at. But if you need a reason why, well, here's a perfectly reasonable, also made up reason for you. You can say this: whenever we onboard a new customer, it always takes more resources than an existing customer who's been with us for multiple months. So in order to give you the best experience, we charge a one-time onboarding fee, setup, activation, engagement, enrollment, whatever made up thing you want to say to give you the experience, that experience. So you'll never have to pay it again, and it's for your own benefit so you get the most out of your experience. Now, we know that if you learn how to use our services the right way, you'll be 23.7x times more successful. So you can say initiation, onboarding, enrollment, startup, setup, processing, activation, build, commencement. You can just use whatever word you want and then put the word fee afterwards, and that's what it can be. So that is our description. Let me give you some examples. So we'll use all combinations, but we'll assume $5,000 onboarding fee and $1,000 a month for all of them, okay? So Waive fee with commitment. This is my personal favorite. It's clean and simple. Commitment's 12 months. Monthly rate's $1,000 a month. Fee is $5,000 if they pay month to month. Option A, pay one time $5,000 plus $1,000 for the first month, then pay $1,000 a month thereafter. Cancel whenever you want. Option B, waive the $5,000 if you commit to 12. Pay $1,000 per month. Only pay the $5,000 fee if you break your commitment early. Boom. Very simple. Very straightforward. There's a visual. If you want, you can do a different version of this where you keep the month-to-month rate higher. So if they cancel the discounted commitment, you bill the difference. All right. So let's say they basically, the longer they stay, the bigger the cancellation rate. So if they've accrued, $177 of savings or $67 of savings every single month on their commitment, the day they want to break the contract, they pay the difference in savings up to that point. Now let's do some important points. So 4 variables for this method. You've got the commitment length, you've got the commitment rate, you've got the month-to-month rate, and you've got the fee that they're going to waive or not. There are more versions of this beyond the 2 that I shared. You can figure them out on your own. Now, I had an earlier version of this that had like 9 different versions, and my editor was like, you're honestly just going to confuse people, so don't do that. So fundamentally, though, you can mix and match these however you want. You can have the rate difference between the people who commit can be less. You can have the length be a variable. The rate that you charge month to month is different. The fee that you waive. So all of those things kind of go into this deal structure. The recommendation that I have is a model that works, which is take the price, multiply it by 5, make that the fee, waive it. And that basically hangs over their head the whole time. And if you want, again, the ethical reason for this is that many businesses and many services have emotional ups and downs. There's volatility for customers. And so having something kind of like guardrails to keep someone on point during the rough months can help them overall see success. And I believe that. So that's not just wordsmithing. That's true. And this vehicle or pricing structure, money model, allows you to build incentives around that. All right. So fees get them to start. People get value out of committing immediately because they avoid a fee. People want to avoid fees, so more people sign up to continuity. Mission accomplished. Hooray. That's how this works. Fees also get them to stick, which is lovely. So people will stick for the same reason they started, by sticking to avoid the fee. So people quit for millions of reasons, but by incurring an additional cost, a larger fee in order to cancel, their original reason for quitting immediately shrinks compared to the value of avoiding the fee. In English, if the cost to quit exceeds the cost to stay, they will probably stay. Presenting the fee. Justify the fee by explaining the cost of taking on new customers for longer-term programs. Basically, if they want short-term flexibility, they pay their own setup costs. If they commit to staying long-term, we'll pay their setup costs for them. All right? If someone asks for additional reason, just say, it costs us money to get you started. If you only want to test this out, you cover those costs. If you commit to longer, I'll cover them. Now, if more than 5% of people want to cancel early, look into that. Pricing incentivizes sticking, but it can't and shouldn't overcome a terrible product. You want to nudge them, not handcuff people into paying for something they hate, because then they'll just hate you. Now, if you want more upfront cash, have a smaller fee. A smaller fee encourages more people to go month to month. This is the same difference we had with the earlier version with the continuity bonus offer. Same idea, except this is just a fee rather than a program. But some people will pay, and I'll tell you what my guess would be to get 50-50 to sign up, which would be a 33% increase. A smaller fee will get more people to go month to month. A larger fee will encourage more people to make the commitment. But if you need more cash up front, then you can make the fee 1.5 to 3 times the monthly rate, and that will get more people to choose that more flexible option. And when you do this, more people will take it. Great, and you get more cash up front. So you can drop the fee after the customer fulfills the commitment, right? So if someone stays the entirety of the commitment, and I'm repeating this because some people forget about this, and then wants to cancel, then they have honored their commitment, and then you need to honor the fact that they don't need to pay that fee anymore. That is what makes it equitable. That's what makes it fair. Okay, so I prefer this offer for commitments over 1 year and longer. All right, so the longer the commitment, the better this works. This works especially well with services that take a long time to work. So think about SEO, investing, weight loss. These are all things that take a long time for someone to really get closer to their goals. It keeps people committed when they get emotional. Cancellation fees for a cause. So this is like a 201 version of this. But if you want to keep customers extra motivated, you can donate the money that they would be paying for a cause that they are against. So you just say, hey, what cause do you absolutely hate? Great. If you cancel early, I will be donating your entire setup fee to them. So this gives them 2 reasons to stay. First, because they don't want to shell out the cash. Second, because they don't want to give it to a cause they hate. Summary. So waive fee offers present a month-to-month option with a fee or a waive fee if they commit. I typically make it 3 to 5 times my monthly rate. At minimum, the commitment length should be a year. The larger your fee, the more buyers will opt for commitment. The smaller fee, the more people will do the month-to-month option, which will give you more cash up front. If the customer meets the commitment, the fee officially goes away. Boom. That is the Waived fee offer.